Happy Sunday, everyone, and welcome to Unity of Kern County on this 26th day of November 2023. I'm Reverend Chuck, and today's message is about our spiritual bank account. And as we do each Sunday, we honor that presence of God as we best understand that presence in our life and in our affairs, as we open with the Charles Fillmore prayer, In the Presence. I'm now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. I acknowledge your presence and power, O blessed Spirit, and your divine wisdom. Now erase my mortal limitations, and from your pure substance of love, bring into manifestation my world according to your perfect law. And so it is. I pray that you and your family had a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And with that in mind, I'd like to share this insight with you today about one of Jesus's teachings on the idea of creating a spiritual bank account. And what does that look like in our life and affairs? Well, having a spiritual bank account is pretty much the same way that it works on a principle of any bank account that you may have, according to your needs and the kind of deposits and withdrawals that you make on a daily basis. So, to understand, though, our spiritual bank account and how it works, there are four basic items we need to be aware of. Item number one, on a spiritual level, each of us has been given a spiritual bank account at the time we were born. And that account is secured in our soul, which records every experience as a deposit or withdrawal in our account. Life affirming experiences add to our account, and of course, negative experiences take away from our account. The idea is never to be overdrawn. So, number two, all our deposits and withdrawals into the spiritual bank account are governed by the rules and regulations, just like our financial bank accounts are, only on a universal basis, and spiritual, of course. Item three, the universal regulations that operate the type of returns we get on deposits we call are the law of mind action, which simply states that all thoughts that are held in mind will produce after their kind if we constantly hold them and keep them in our consciousness. And number four, the rules that keep the regulation in force is karma. We better know that as what you give is what you get, and what goes around comes around. And Jesus talked about this quite often. He also talked about where we put our treasure. You know, we're going to put our treasure into this spiritual bank account. So, what he says, don't lay up yourself treasures on earth where moth and rust can consume and thieves break in and steal them, but where your treasures need to be are in heaven, where neither the rust or the moths can consume it, or the thieves can break in and steal it. And where do we put that treasure? It is where our heart is. It's wherever we love the most. That is where we're putting our treasure. And then he went on to explain that we need to be careful of the thoughts and the ideas and the beliefs that we hold about ourselves and others that will either add to our soul's spiritual bank account or take away from it. When he taught, for where your treasure is, that's where your heart is also. An example of this teaching by Jesus is illustrated in this adage, and we've all heard it. It's not money in and of itself that is evil, but the love of money that is the root cause of all greed, which in turn creates a desire for material gain, either social value, or it has status, or just plain power, holding power over other people. It's always been part of the human condition, which has a very negative impact, of course, on our spiritual bank account. As they say, you can't take it with you. So the question should be asked, what kind of deposits and withdrawals are we making in our spiritual bank account through those thoughts, those ideas, the beliefs that we hold about ourselves and others? And if I'm experiencing negative returns, how can I change that? Because I darn sure don't want to be overdrawn. Well, we need only know that the experiences that lie ahead are the result of our own consciousness, our thoughts, our words, our actions, our deed. And a lot of that comes full circle, and maybe not in the same way, but we end up doing those same things. And we keep wondering, why is this always happening? Well, that is the way the universe works. It helps us to better be to be better educated, if you will, in how what we do really affects our lives. So what we need to do then for our spiritual bank accounts is to be consciously depositing positive, uplifting thoughts and actions into that account. The co-founder of Unity, Charles Fillmore, once wrote, and I quote, "Your life is like a bank account. Every day you should make deposits into the thank you account," as he called it. By doing this, you will begin to develop and live from an attitude of gratitude, which is the great mind magnet inside of you that will attract great dividends, he says, of positive nature, thereby allowing you to reap the rewards of every good kind. And we've all been able to do that. It's just that we don't always do it all the time. So, how can we begin to develop the type of mindset and attitude of gratitude that will draw positive, life affirming energy and abundance into our lives and into our spiritual bank account? Well, here are some ideas that come from the author Diane Harmony in her article, The Gift of Gratitude. And so I quote, she writes, number one, as all great spiritual teachers have taught, the ability to develop and maintain an attitude of gratitude is a gift that you give yourself. And because it is a gift you give yourself, that gift can keep on giving. Two, gratitude is an opening in consciousness that allows the flow of abundance to circulate in our life. And it's not just money, it happens in relationships. The people that come into our lives to help us, our angels, as they are called, okay, rather than those that hinder us. Three, gratitude, of course, is a harmonizing energy. When you focus on your blessings, you're calling upon the energy of love to interact with you and those who you are blessing, thus brushing away any fear and doubt, worry, shame, or blame that might be attached to that which you want to bless. Something to think about, because we often fall into that pattern of behavior, especially if we feel we are been wronged in any way. 4, gratitude is also the great multiplier of good. Giving thanks first sets the stage for increase. A sample of this was Jesus blessing the fish and the loaves of bread. 5, gratitude is the grace that keeps the full effect of karma in check. So that once you realize the type of negative deposits you are making, you can quickly turn that around and replace it with positive ones. 6, gratitude is a key element in helping us understand what true receptivity can do in our lives as we move from being concerned of how our good is coming to knowing it will come. And 7, the gift of gratitude brings us closer in the infinite love that links us to God and each other. As she writes, spirit to spirit and soul to soul. So, something to think about as we learn to develop this spiritual bank account. Because, each of us is, of course, faced with choices every day. We all get to decide the kind of deposits that we're going to make into our spiritual bank account. And the choice of developing an attitude of gratitude is always ours and ours alone. It always has been and always will be. We can be our worst enemies. So we need to take stock into what we are doing and how it's going to pay dividends in our life and in our affairs. So, as we move forward in this holiday season from Thanksgiving to Christmas and then New Year's, um, watch what you're depositing and bless everything you can possibly bless. And with that, I will leave you until I see you again. And until then, I want to thank you for following me on Facebook as well as the YouTube page. And if you haven't subscribed, if you're new to this, please hit the subscribe button. And I want to thank all of you that continue to share your monetary gifts so that we can keep bringing you these messages on a weekly basis. So until next time, remember, friends, be good to yourself and others. God bless.